Hello and welcome. My name is Rabbi Smith, and welcome to Hope for Humanity. The Jewish people have been entrusted with the tremendous responsibility of carrying God's message of hope for thousands of years now, and bringing that message of hope to all of humanity. And I'm here today to help bring that message of hope directly to you. We are facing a situation in the world today where we see there's both a pandemic of medical issues and there's a pandemic of fear. And we have to ask ourselves, what is God's wisdom? What is God's wisdom to be able to help guide every single human being and his or her family through this situation? And to receive that God's wisdom, we look in the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, the Old Testament, where we see the lessons that we could find in the book of Numbers, chapter 21, where the Jewish people were plagued by a tremendous, fearsome, terrifying plague. A plague of serpents, of fiery serpents that were coming through the Jewish camp, the Jewish people, and biting people with poisonous, deadly poison. Those people were dying. And when they came to Moses, and they asked Moses to help save them, and Moses prayed for them, the answer that Moses got from God was a remarkable answer. The answer was that he should build or make a copper snake and put it on a tall pole so that the people that were bitten by the snake should be able to look at this snake on the tall pole, at this copper snake, and they would then be healed. Well, we have to ask ourselves a question. Is it possible that a copper snake would be able to heal people? And the answer, my friends, is no. A material thing, a copper snake, cannot heal people. On the contrary, the purpose of the copper snake put up high in a high place was to remind people that not only was the solution from God, but the cause, the snake itself that was running, that the snakes that were biting people were also from God. God, the divine source of all of life, the divine energy that permeates all of existence, both the spiritual and the physical worlds, was asking us to be reminded that when we find ourselves in terror, when we find ourselves in ill health, when we find ourselves in situations that are undesirable, it's a wake-up call to remind us to look upwards, to look to our Creator. When we say looking upwards, we're not just talking about a physical looking upwards, because God is not only above us, God is all around us and within us. But upwards represents removing our thinking from the focus on the crisis that we feel that we are experiencing and looking beyond that. Looking upwards is a word that we're looking beyond the crisis that we see. And therefore the snake was placed on a high place so that we would look upwards, we would look out of our current situation, we would take ourselves to the spiritual solution, which is to remember and reconnect with ourselves with the giver of life, with God Almighty Himself. And instead of running around more and more panicked by the fact that the person had been bitten by the snake and that the poison was inside of himself, he was told, instructed, and guided, look upwards to see the source of your life, to see the loving source of your life, and that will bring healing. And that is really the lesson for all of us. Because notice that God did not command Moses to put out traps to trap the snakes. He did not command him to put out poison to kill the snakes. He did not direct him to send out dogs to chase the snakes. In fact, that was not the answer. The answer was a spiritual solution. And the copper snake did not prevent the snakes from biting people. In fact, people continued to be bitten, but they were healed when they looked with intention, when they looked with understanding and wanting to be reconnected with their spiritual source, with their divine source, then they were healed. And that is really what we as a humanity can take that lesson, to recognize that the solution, when we see a terrifying circumstance, whether it's the terrifying medical circumstances, whether it's the terrifying numbers and models, whether it's the terrifying prospect of what governments might do with power that they have, whether it's the terrifying prospect of what people might want to do to take opportunities of the crisis and the fear. Whatever the source of our fear is, we must remember that the solution is a spiritual solution. It's a reconnection with our divine source, and that's the message for all of humanity. That's the hope for all of humanity. We are never left alone by our loving Creator. God is taking care and investing His energy into giving life to every single human being. Every single creature is created by God, and particularly has the special creative energy that's put into a human being is a gift from God that's with us at every moment. It never ceases. And that's what we can connect with ourselves with right now, when as soon as we feel the fear of whether or not we caught the virus, or whether or not the virus might be going in the air, or whether or not a family member has it, or whether or not we're afraid of something, a political thing, we must remember that this is a wake-up call to reconnect us to our spiritual divine source, our source which is God Almighty, the loving creator of all of us. And this is what the lesson of the chapter 21 of the book of Numbers is. If you take a look inside, you will see in these verses over here, starting at verse 6, this is God's loving message, the divine wisdom for all of humanity. And we are able to, each one of us is able to help everyone else by spreading this message of hope. So, God willing, we'll all be healthy, and those that are sick should have an immediate and complete healing, both a physical healing, and even more importantly, because it's the source of our physical healing, is our spiritual healing, the recognition that we are living in the loving embrace of our Creator. That's a gift for all of humanity. And I encourage you to take a moment for your own sake and to take care of yourself and your family. Subscribe below, so you can continue to get these messages of hope that God willing we will continue to bring out into the world. And also, once you've subscribed, also remember we have to spread this message of hope to everybody. Let's get this viral. Let's get the message of hope viral to every single human being wherever they live. And if they don't have technology, get the message to them anyways, in any way you can. Let it go viral. Spread this message, because this is hope for humanity. Let's spread it. Hope is contagious. We want to spread with wildfire. We can see how fast things can spread in this world today. We want to spread that message of hope, the message of a healing God and a loving God that is a God of all of creation, a God of all of humanity. And this is the message of hope for all humanity. God bless you and your family. God bless your everybody. And in addition, you should all be blessed with health in particular, which is the moment of the day. And especially we should be recognized and experience the loving embrace of our Creator, who creates us at every minute and every moment. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Thank you for showing up to listen to more messages. And thank you for spreading this to other people. And God willing, we should see very speedily the day when we will be able to perceive with our own eyes the reality, which is that everything that exists is only divine energy. Thank you very much. God bless you.